and 85 cents for a total of $1,169,845.61.
Do I have a second on the motion?
I second, Your Honor.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there any, Mia or Kyle, would you like to make any statements on the foregoing consideration of claims?
Your Honor, I don't have anything, but would defer to Ms. Harris if she does.
I have nothing, Your Honor.
Come on. Yes, you're,
I see that multiple street lights have been purchased. Does that mean you guys are getting ready for daylight savings time, Brian?
We're replacing bulbs downtown, I'm assuming, yep.
Okay, thanks.
how many do we have left to complete?
How many? 86.
And we started out with 86 or?
Well, we had, we're replacing 40 light fixtures, isn't that right, Dan?
86 streetlights are being upgraded to LED along Main Street.
86 lights. Oh, so 86 lights are being upgraded.
Wow. And our projection schedule for completion is?
At this point, probably the electrician's getting started, and we would expect a few weeks to all be done.
Okay.
Dan, if you'd like, you could come to the microphone and answer that.
Yes, Your Honor. The electrician's just getting started. He was at the office today gathering some information. He's going to get started on that, and hopefully he'll be done in 2 to 3 weeks.
Very good. Thank you.
Welcome.
If there's no other actions to take place, this Finance Committee is adjourned.
I would like to call the October 15th, 2024 City Council meeting to order at 7 PM. And I would ask that Councilman Larson lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and Councilmember Pronto lead us in the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, we pray that you guide us as we do the will of the people tonight. Lord, help us satisfy the needs that need to be met during this meeting and guide us all as we make decisions. Father, we pray that we'll be fruitful in doing your will. So please guide us that this meeting can be productive. Lord, we also ask that you protect and guide all of our first responders, our military, their families, and keep them all safe. Amen.
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 Wait a minute.
Thank you. Mia, could you give us the roll call, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Councilmember Dean Peranto.
Here.
Councilmember Lynn Cox.
Here.
Councilmember Mike Bailey.
Here.
Councilmember Carla Borders.
Here.
Councilmember Kyle Larson.
Here.
Councilmember Christy Salisbury.
Here.
And Mayor Tim Hancock.
Mayor Hancock is ill this evening, so I would also ask that we have a motion to excuse him from this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, second by Councilman Larson, motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilman Borders. All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion passes. All right, I declare we have a quorum. I would look for a motion to approve the agenda as written.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilman Salisbury, to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Let's see. Yep. Okay, the next thing will be the introduction and oath of office. Chief, you present for us.
Thank you. This evening, we have two more members joining our law enforcement family. This time, I'd like to ask Braden Sears to please step forward. Braden's was raised here in Riverton by his parents, Jody and Greg. He has four brothers, one of whom is Kendall, seated in the back of the room, who was recently promoted from community service officer to police officer. Braden graduated from Riverton High School, class of 2024. He played soccer for 4 years and enjoys exercising, being out on the outdoors, and previously worked as a basketball coach at RREC and a technician for Fremont County Weed and Pest. His ambitions are to eventually become a police officer and make a difference in the community. At this time, I'd like to ask his mother, Jody, to please provide Braden his new badge. There we go. Thank you. Braden, please stay up here, and I'd like to ask Taylor Murphy, please step forward. Here's fine. Taylor was born and raised here in Austin, Riverton, along with his brothers, Chris and Caden, and by his proud parents, Gwen and Eric. He recently started his law enforcement career at the Fremont County Sheriff's Office as a corrections deputy for over a year. He's supported by his family and his girlfriend, Sydney, and her daughter, Kendall. He's excited to take this step in his career and help his community be a safer place. At this time, I'd like to ask Chief Eric Murphy and Kendall to please come forward and help pin Taylor.
Excuse me.
Sure, it's a very proud moment. At this time, we'll go ahead and administer the oath of
I will
office.
come down and administer the oath.
Come up here. So you're both
Gather in here. Want me on this side?
all right.
All right, I'll start off with I, and then you'll state your name, and then we'll go through this. Okay? Raise your right hand. I
I, Taylor Murphy,
solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend
I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming,
the Constitution of the State of Wyoming.
that I have not knowingly violated any law
I have not knowingly violated any law
related to my election or appointment,
related to my election or my appointment,
or caused it to be done by others,
or caused it to be done by others,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
and I will discharge my duties of office with fidelity.
Okay. Good job. You'll be an officer, you gotta have a pen in your pocket. Oops, hold on.
You're going to be a councilman, you have to read the paper.
The mayor's name's on those, so we'll get them signed and get them back to you.
Yeah, Lord. Families can come on up for pictures.
Come up there.
Sid?
Move them back a little. Eric.
Eric, if you guys want to go back, you can. Wherever you want to do it. You're not so
There's
No.
plenty of you.
Heck no. We're proud to have you.
They're not.
Every one of them.
Everyone else is.
Okay. Are we standing or hiding behind them?
Oh, we should.
I'm hiding behind mine.
Bunny ears.
No bunny ears, I promise.
Yippee.
More with.
And now the next family.
Yeah. One more ring.
Mike, you know how to empty a room. Check that off the list.
All right. The next thing we have is reports and comments. City council members, we'll start with Dean.
Your Honor, I haven't attended any committee meetings since our last meeting. However, the next Central Wyoming Airport Board meeting will be held this Friday, the 18th. And I attended the water master plan meeting that was held this evening before this meeting. I found it really interesting as an overview that it took over 2 years to complete, but some key takeaways is how funding works and how dependent it is on timing based on grants and the project that you're doing, and you have to join this with that in order to get funding on this other thing, and pretty much have to stand on one foot, tap your head, pat your belly. And really, even though it shows a great upside, it is going to come at a high cost, and it's really critical that we start preparing and thinking through those now. We've had to raise water rates several times in the last few years, and unfortunately, that's not going to stop because of the age of the infrastructure that we have and the needs that we're seeing. So I think that's going to be a definite conversation as we move forward. And as a separate personal aside, I had the opportunity to attend my nephew's graduation at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. He joined the Army. So to see a class of 300 graduating recruits, male and female, hoorahing it up was really heartwarming to me. And to see our future generation of veterans standing up and taking the oath and being a part of a community that is just really special. Our military is amazing. And for these kids to stand up and do that, I just found it really heartwarming. Thank you.
Thanks. Councilwoman Cox.
Your Honor, I haven't attended any meetings since the last meeting. The rec board did meet last Monday, and I didn't attend that meeting, but I know that we have a new member on our board, Amber Lyman. So I'm happy that we're full again and appreciate her taking that position. I wanted to comment, I don't know if you guys noticed a bunch of high schoolers out in the community last Friday, but the National Honor Society arranged a work day for the entire high school. They called it Wolverines in Action, and they spent the entire morning from about 9 to noon cleaning up over 25 locations in town. So that was, I was very proud of them, and let them know that we appreciated that as the city. So, and then the other thing I just wanted to mention, on my driving around town today, I noticed that they were laying sod down at the new soccer.
I've seen the truck pull.
Yeah,
So the truck pulling through town.
Yeah, so it's a new soccer field. So that's exciting. If you haven't seen that yet, drive down by Willow Creek on Majors and check it out because it looks really nice. So that's all I have.
It's awesome. Thank you. Councilman Borders. Councilwoman Borders.
Councilman works too.
Yes.
I'm not picky. Your Honor, I attended the senior endowment meeting on last Thursday. Before the meeting tonight, I attended the pause meeting, and one thing that I want to make sure to tell everyone is that they've got lots of puppies and kittens that need homes or fosters, so if you're able to do that, that would be great. You can just get a hold of pause. I met earlier before this meeting on the Finance Committee, and I'll defer to Kyle on that. And then I think that's all I had.
All right, thank you. Councilman Larson.
To add to what's been said, the Riverton Senior High School provided great service to the city of Riverton, and I had a client drop into my office and was so pleased with the amount of refuge that had been sucked from the road to the airport. He was absolutely dumbfounded and surprised and happy. And so with great pride, I called my granddaughter and told her that he was very happy that she had done and her associates had done that. And you know, that, when you do that, that shows ownership. Ownership shows pride. Pride shows respect. And that diminishes the graffiti, that diminishes the I'm mad at the world aspect. And I'm proud that we have young individuals that are responsible for taking action in such a positive nature. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Salisbury.
I also attended the Finance Committee meeting earlier. I have a board meeting next Tuesday with the Wyoming Senior Citizens, Inc., and I'll give an update on that. I was really excited to watch the Riverton Lander football game. Once again, Councilwoman Cox's boys are doing their part, and it's been a really fun season this year. I don't know if people have gotten out to see it. I've had a couple meetings with some of the hospital board people. There'll be some, it looks like there's going to be getting started on some stuff, and the city may need to help some more with that to make sure it's up and running. I'm excited about that. And I appreciate Mr. Miller today. I had a one of our citizens call about an issue with a neighbor and some things going on, and when I drove past there, Mike was already on it visiting with her, and she'd called, and so he's going to follow up on that. And the only other thing is I've had a couple people complain about the lot on 8th and Sunset in the weeds like every year, so I don't know if we've talked to him or not, but that's always a big issue. It seems to be so visible right on that intersection, so.
I will call the owner tomorrow.
You will?
Yep.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, thank you. Again, the weeds were aggressive this year. And so, yeah, it took, I know when we did the first street cleanup, there were some that we had to get, I mean, they were that big around at the base, and so it was crazy. I mean, so the secrets get out there early. We were a little late, I think, doing our cleanup. And again, it was great to see the high school kids all get out and do some stuff. Again, they coordinated with my wife, and we used a bunch of the stuff we did from the cleanup that Rotary sponsored, and they gave them, you know, pickup sticks and gloves and all that kind of stuff that were donated by some different businesses in town. And so, yeah, it was great to see those kids out finishing up what we didn't get done a few weeks ahead of that. So it's awesome. And again, it sort of revives your faith in humanity when you see kids getting out and participating in their community and being responsible. And, you know, the young folks that we had tonight, new to the police force, it makes you proud and makes you also feel really old. But, so, again, and I attended the Force Committee meeting this last Monday, I think it was. Can't remember. Yeah, Monday. And again, they're into planning for the projects that are upcoming. Again, they have to start about this time of year prioritizing their projects on what they're going to try to do for next year. There's a, we're partnering with the county to help upgrade Riverview Road from about, before, I think, Spire, all the way out to Ryan Road. And so they're doing that. We're sharing that with the county. Probably about a $2 million project coming next year, maybe $3 million. And if we hurry up and get a bids in, maybe more than that by the time we get there. But, and so, again, hopefully the 1 cent sales tax will pass again, and we'll be able to continue to use those funds to help improve the city's streets. Again, I think we have 80 miles of street, if I remember right, what Brendan said here the other day, about 80 miles of street in Riverton. And we resurfaced and repaired and replaced, I think, 8 miles. So we, this year we did. So we got to keep doing it. 10 years from now, the streets we fix this year are going to need another hit. So it's a continuous battle. But if you have any input on streets that need work, again, don't be afraid to come and visit the Forest Committee. They meet on Mondays once a month. And they need your input on what you think needs repaired. And it's an extremely frugal group of folks that are trying to get the most out of our tax dollars that we possibly can to help keep the roads and stuff going in the city of Riverton. And again, it's a full-time battle. And again, I was at the water master plan this evening. And again, we're right in the same boat with the water system. We have lines in Riverton that were put in 1906. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So again, there's 103 miles of water line in the city of Riverton. And so if we do 2% of those lines, which is 2 miles, over 2 miles a year, it'll take us 50 years to get those all repaired or replaced. And so, again, it's a huge battle. We will, I'm sure, we encourage city staff to look for every single grant and funding opportunity that we can to be able to do that. So the farther we can get ahead of it, the better it's going to be for all of us. But all of those things just take time and money and lots of effort. So again, we just got to keep working at it one bite at a time. So that's all I have that I can think of. Kyle?
Your Honor, the Finance Committee met this evening and
Not yet.
not yet.
Okay. The other Kyle.
The other Kyle, okay. Sorry. The better looking Kyle.
Your Honor, I don't mind taking second to Councilman Larson at all. I do have a few items that I'd like to make you aware of, and also those in the audience. This Thursday at 6 o'clock, there will be another EDGE committee meeting. The committee met last Thursday and considered requests and received presentations. It should be noted that almost $675,000 worth of requests were made, and there's $230,000 available for you to award. So this Thursday, the committee will have a challenging decision to prioritize the presentations that they received and then make a recommendation for ultimate decision at a later meeting. There's also going to be the airport board meeting this upcoming Friday here in the council chambers at 8 a.m. I would like to also make note that the city does plan to hold its annual Halloween trunk or treat on October 31st, which is going to be a Thursday from 2 to 4 p.m. We invite the public and anyone that's wanting to dress up to come and enjoy City Hall and get some trick-or-treating done. So again, that's going to be from 2 to 4 p.m. I would also like to make a quick comment about the Water Master Plan presentation that was just prior to this meeting, and make note that I'm very proud of our team for maintaining the water system that we do have. When you look at the primary functions of municipalities, providing healthy, clean water is one of those primary functions. And our team has done a great job maintaining infrastructure. In fact, Councilman Bailey and I made note that one of our tanks was first installed in the 1950s, still operates, and it's running well because of the maintenance that years of city employees have put into that. But as it has already been noted, while we have a great team and we provide great water to our community, we have to be prepared to maintain our system and also expand our system when it's necessary. And this plan will be very helpful as we consider that and look forward for the next 20 and 30 years. And thank you to the state for helping fund that master plan study. If I could, I'd like to also highlight one of our employees. I was made aware this week that Vidal Shadden, who is our recycling employee, who goes around and collects recycling, who always does a wonderful job with his route. But this week particularly, he noticed that one of his regular customers hadn't put out their recycling. He went down the road, turned around, and was on his way back. Noticed the recycling still wasn't out, but that the dogs were out. He normally gives treats to the puppies. So he stops and gives the dogs a treat, kind of wondering what's happening, and faintly he hears from the rose bushes, "Help." Well, Vidal, because he knows our community and he does a great job, and he stopped. He was able to help an elderly woman out of the bushes who had fallen and needed assistance. The woman's daughter lived next door. She said, "Please go get my daughter." Vidal went next door, and he said as soon as the daughter found out that her mother was down, she blew past him as though he was attached to a pole, is what he says. Fortunately, the resident is fine, but this is just one example of the great employees we have in the city of Riverton, and I wanted to make note that we just appreciate the service they provide and that they know our community. They don't just check out, but they provide service. A couple other things to make note of. As yesterday was Indigenous Peoples Day, I was honored to attend a ceremony at Ethity and watched a ceremony as several tribal artifacts were repatriated back to the Northern Arapaho tribe. And I appreciated the invitation by Crystal Seabearing and members of the Arapaho tribe to watch that. And also our Riverton Police Department, who helped provide escort through town as these artifacts were driven to the reservation. It was a great event, and we appreciated being part of that. The last few notes I'd like to make is we will be advertising in the very near future for a consultant to do a feasibility study for the ICE or multi-sport event center. As you remember, we received a grant from USDA to perform a feasibility study, and you as a council have decided to match that grant. I've been on the phone with several potential consultants. I have a draft scope that's ready to advertise, and we'll put that out and welcome any proposals from a qualified firm so that we can make a selection and move forward on that feasibility study. Lastly, in response to the question about 8th and Sunset, it's in coordinating with Mr. Miller, a notice was provided to that property earlier into the season, but it sounds like we need to follow up, and we'll do that with our code enforcement arm of the city. With that, Your Honor, well, I did want to say it was pretty cool to drive by and see the grass going down at the soccer field. So we have good things happening in Riverton, and a lot of community organizations are doing them. People are ready to volunteer. People are ready to go to work. And seeing that grass down was exciting for me, anyway. With that, Your Honor, I have nothing else.
Okay. Those were big rolls of grass, too.
Like one roll to your whole.
Like a big, hay bale roll size. I mean,
Bigger, right?
Yeah, they were
Probably
huge.
10 foot wide.
Yeah, so.
Is there a horizontal on the truck?
Two guys that put that on the truck were tough.
I guess.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is communication from the floor, citizens' comments. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the council regarding an item that is scheduled for a public hearing will be given an opportunity to speak during that public hearing. Anyone wishing to address the council on any other item may speak now. I would ask that those individuals who wish to address the council at time approach the podium and identify yourself for the record.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm Chessie Lee, and I live at 313 North 6th Street East. I always give my address because one time when I spoke, a person asked me if I was from Lander, so just want to clarify. I live in Riverton. At the last city council meeting, it was brought up about what the status is of getting a homeless shelter or a facility for our unhoused people, and I found out that there's the 789 facility outside of Riverton is not going to be able to take people until about November 15th is the day that I've been given. And I know last meeting was under the impression, I was given the impression that it was already established and that already people were being taken there. So just to I know last year at this time, there was a lot of community involvement in making sure that people were being served, and I don't see that happening right now, and so I hope that interest can be regenerated and that cooperation can be developed between the city and with the tribes to continue to work toward that endeavor. I'm also concerned that several ordinances have been passed in the last few months dealing with defecation, trying to close loopholes on loitering law, maybe expanding public intoxication to include private intoxication. Tonight you'll be making the final vote on jaywalking, again, expanding that. And I feel like these ordinances are really geared toward the people that really need to be provided safety. They're vulnerable people, and having fines for these people who are, many of them have addiction issues, mental illness issues, and that really just increasing the number of ordinances really doesn't address the root causes of the problem. And that I'd like for the city to take a better look at that, of what really addresses the root causes and what provides for better safety, putting people above property at times instead of the other way around. So I just urge you to take a broader look at that concern. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else?
Good evening, Council. My name is Julie Buller, the interim director for, well, I'm barely the interim director for the Riverton Chamber. And so I'm just going to give you a little update on what we've been doing. And last month's after-hours networking was a huge success. We had standing room only at 381 Subs. Mia, thank you for coming and representing the city there. And our next Lunch and Learn will be this Thursday at Teton Therapy. And we do have Teton Therapy and Redden and Kane sponsoring that. And then we do have 3 nonprofits that'll be there: Riverton Help Center, and St. Margaret's, and Eagles Hope. Are you familiar with the Riverton Help Center? They do offer some of the services you were talking about, so we probably need to connect you with the Riverton Help Center. And they'll be there Thursday night if you want to come visit with them. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure that she was aware of that, and of course, let you guys know that our nonprofits. Let's see. Our first Friday's Lunch and Learn will be November 1st, and that will be up at CWC Intertribal. And we've got the Riverton Police Department that's going to come and speak about safety and security training, and that's just, for our businesses. And this might end up being where it's a additional type training. We're not really sure what's going to come out of it, but that'll be November 1st. So we encourage all businesses to come up there and participate in that. And then let's see, November 1st. Then I just wanted to make you guys all, I skipped one thing. October 26th is the First Responders Appreciation Dinner, and I believe the mayor is going to come speak at that, and then we've also reached out to a couple senators to come too. That's not like a real community-wide event. We're just inviting the first responders and their families to come, and we're basically thanking them and serving them dinner, but all of you guys are encouraged to come join us if you'd like to. And that'll be on October 26th at 6 p.m. Location to be determined, because we've got the Fremont Center reserved, but in the event that we don't have a big enough crowd, we're probably going to do it over at Bunk's Barbecue. And then the next event that I'm aware of is, I actually just want to give you guys a heads up. So I met with the school, the Wyoming, or the Student Council representative and president last week, and on November 17th through the 19th, we will have, they're coming in on Sunday, and I've been working with the restaurants The chamber's been working with the restaurants because we've got to serve meals at dinner for about 500 to 700 people that Sunday evening. And as you all know, Sunday's not a real good restaurant opening day, so we're trying to see if we can get the restaurants to adjust their schedules. If not, we'll look at trying to get some food trucks because we want to make sure that this is a very pleasant experience for these kids that come here. On Monday, we're being asked to have the restaurants available from 4 to 9 p.m. for 1,000 people because they'll be out and about. And then, as you mentioned with the cleanup, they're looking for projects, and I did steer them to Mike in June because they have the community map that they just did with the Rotary for cleanup. I'm not exactly sure what their projects are going to be, but you can expect to see 1,000 kids out here running around in the community on Monday, November 18th then. And then, of course, they'll be heading out of here on Tuesday, so we'll have to serve them lunches at the restaurants. I think that's what I have for now. And now, before I do this, though, I just wanted to let you guys know that there's 2 big events that we have done, the Chamber. So last week, there was a conference in Rock Springs, Wyoming Working Together Conference. And I can tell you that our new executive director took her last 2 days of vacation with her previous employer to go to that conference with me in Rock Springs. So that tells you how devoted and dedicated she is to coming on to this position. And we did get a grant from the Wyoming State Chamber to pay for our registration on that. So, and then today, her and I spent half a day at the Wyoming Nonprofit Board Fundamentals Training. And oh my gosh, that was amazing training. And I think that that's going to be our new model for any board member that comes on, is that fundamental training. And Cindy and I are going to work on putting some stuff together, but it was really good training if you have the opportunity to attend that for any nonprofit. So with that, I would love to introduce our new chamber director, Cindy Olson-Roden. Cindy can tell you a little bit about herself.
Good evening. As a lot of you know, I am from Riverton. Recently moved back here about 5 months ago with my husband. He is retired, and we're super glad to be back to Riverton. We were in Gillette for quite a while, and I did accept the offer for the executive director's job, and I'm very excited, very pumped to continue what Julie and the Chamber Board have been doing for the last 7 months. We're going to move forward with everything, and there's going to be a lot of new exciting things, and I'm just really happy to be here and very passionate about the community, the businesses. A lot of you know I owned a business here for about 20 years, a travel agency. Did do some service. I was on the airport board for a couple of years, and I'm just glad to be back and glad to support the community, do what we can for our businesses, economic development, and some tourism. And yeah, that's all I've got. One thing tomorrow is our National Support Your Local Chamber of Commerce Day. So if you want to come by the chamber and meet me and visit, we'd love to have you down there.
In the afternoon, I've got her booked in the morning.
Yeah. Oh, in the afternoon.
And then share with your chamber experience in Gillette.
Oh, yes. While I was in Gillette, I was up there 9 years, and I worked from home with my travel agency for a while until COVID hit, and then I went to work for U.S. Bank up there for about 3.5 years. But during pretty much that full time, that 8 years, I was involved with a subcommittee of the Gillette or Campbell County Chamber of Commerce. I was on a steering committee for Galley, Gillette Area Leadership. So I have some involvement with the chamber there. And so I'm hoping to bring that experience and just all my lifelong experience, business, working, that type of thing to the chamber here in Riverton. So we're looking for some great outcome and looking forward to it.
Thank you. We're very glad to have you.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
And goodbye.
Not so fast.
You say that now.
And she has her book in the morning.
So the next time Julie comes and grabs any of you, just remember you said goodbye. Yeah. All right. Anybody else? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Ms. Harris, would you give us the consent agenda, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Approval of the minutes, October 1st, 2024, regular council meeting. Approval of the minutes, October 1st, 2024, executive session. Approval of the minutes, October 15th, 2024, Finance Committee meeting. Approval of the Finance Committee recommendations, October 15th, 2024. Approval of the municipal court report for the month of September 2024. Approval of after-hours park use request, Lander Disc Golf League, Glow in the Dark Disc Golf at Sunset Park, October 19th, 2024, from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. And the Central Wyoming Regional Airport Title VI policy.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other items that need brought forward on the consent agenda?
I think I'm next.
Yes.
The Finance Committee met at 6:45. Bills to be paid in the amount of $942,411.59. Elon credit card, the amount of $4,449.17. Manual checks in the amount of $84. Payroll and liabilities from October 4th in the amount of $222,900.85. This is a total of $1,169,845.61.
Okay. I would be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Councilwoman Borders moved and Councilman Pronto seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. All right, the next thing on the agenda is the extra day proclamation. So I will read the proclamation. Whereas Riverton, Wyoming is a community which acknowledges that special vibrancy exists within the entire community when its individual citizens collectively go the extra mile, in-person effort, volunteerism, and service. And whereas Riverton, Wyoming is a community which encourages its citizens to maximize their personal contribution to the community by giving of themselves wholeheartedly and with total effort, commitment, and conviction to their individual ambitions, family, friends, community. And whereas Riverton, Wyoming is a community which chooses to shine a light and celebrate individuals and organizations within its community who go the extra mile in order to make a difference and lift up fellow members of their community. And whereas Riverton, Wyoming acknowledges the mission of Extra Mile America to create 550 extra mile cities in America and is proud to support the Extra Mile Day on November 1st, 2024. I therefore, Council President of Riverton, Wyoming, who do hereby proclaim November 1st to be Extra Mile Day, and I urge each individual in the community to take time on this day to not only go the extra mile in his or her own life, but acknowledge all of those who are inspirational in their efforts and commitment to their organizations, families, community, country, and to the world a better place. Thank you. All right. The next item on the agenda is a public hearing in consideration of ordinance 24-006, third and final reading on jaywalking. Chief of Police's report, please.
Thank you. This is the third reading for ordinance. Ordinance came before you because of the increase of complaints regarding people crossing and causing immediate traffic hazard. A lot of people, a lot of complaints regarding this is people just quickly just jet out in front of cars. We've had several pedestrians struck by cars over the years and many, many near misses over the last few years. So as we're going over the local ordinance, we saw there was a gap that fixes this, and puts us in line with state statute. The ordinance in language incorporates the definition of what an intersection is, and it's not necessarily a marked crosswalk, but essentially where two streets come together is considered an intersection by state ordinance or state statute. The crosswalk section, as it regards to the safe crossing for pedestrians, they shall yield the right-of-way to all vehicles who are so close and near to constitute an immediate hazard, not suddenly leave the curb or the safety of the safety and walk into the path of a vehicle that would cause an immediate hazard, and not unnecessarily stop or delay traffic while in marked or unmarked crosswalk. The statute will also allow the research if there is any areas in town where it is too dangerous for pedestrians to cross. Then I'll work with the street department to identify these stretches of roadways, incorporate a learning period where there'd be signage posted where it's unsafe to cross between point A and point B. Likewise, drivers must yield the right-of-way to any pedestrian who lawfully crosses and enters a marked crosswalk, any crosswalk with official traffic control devices or any unmarked crosswalk or intersection. And Section D of the statute, like I said, it incorporates the wording under state statute of what the definition of is in an intersection. And with that, Your Honor, I stand for any questions.
Okay. Is there any questions by anybody? Okay. Chair would entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 24-006 on third and final reading.
Your Honor, as a point of order, can I read the ordinance by title?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Thank you.
Skipped an item.
Ordinance number 24-006, an ordinance amending Title 10, Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 10.12, Additional Traffic Regulations, to create Section 10.12.190, Crosswalks of the Riverton Municipal Code, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. Now I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Councilwoman Borders and seconded by Councilman Pronto. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor, if it's okay, I'd like to just make a quick point. As this is third reading, a public hearing is not required, and therefore you weren't required to open a public hearing as you did on first reading. We did have it on your script agenda that it would be a public hearing.
Okay.
But it is not required. That's why we didn't stop you from entertaining this motion, but I would encourage you to welcome anyone in the audience to speak to you as part of your discussion tonight.
Okay. Is there anybody who would like to speak regarding this ordinance?
Ron Warbness, citizen of the Riverton. And I've thought about this a lot, attended previous meetings where it's been discussed. I know what the problem is that you're dealing with, and it certainly is a problem. I don't question that at all. I think the distance, for the listening audience that might not be quite as tuned in, between Sunset and Pershing, from the City Hall across to McDonald's, it's a long distance. And to expect pedestrians to go clear around to the crosswalks, many people aren't going to do that. And it's just a problem. And I feel uncomfortable, with an ordinance that will affect all of the citizens in Main Street as well as Federal, and to solve a problem in a localized area and the problem is on a state highway. And so I would wonder if YDOT has been contacted about the possibility of putting a crosswalk in between that area, similar to what they have in front of, on First Street, in front of A.D. Martin, that might help ameliorate that problem. I also agree with Chessie that to make a lot of these ordinances puts more of a load on our police department. And I can envision that if you're on Main Street and you get picked up for jaywalking, the judge may look and say, well, there's no signage that says that it's illegal. So then you will end up putting more signage on Main Street that will clutter our Main Street with more signage. And when I was involved in having the rebuild of Main Street, that was one of the things that we worked very hard to keep from happening, was the cluttering of Main Street with signage. And it just goes on and on. So I would feel personally uncomfortable to vote for this ordinance, but I certainly understand, you know, how it evolves to this point, but I just wanted to share with you my concern about that. So.
Thank you.
Good luck.
And just for your information, even an unmarked crosswalk is at any intersection of two streets. So right out in front of City Hall, Forest comes up, so that is an intersection and that is a crosswalk that would be a viable crosswalk. And so the pedestrian does have right of way in the crosswalks, as long as they're not impeding traffic.
Yeah, I understand.
So again, the idea is to keep people from getting run over.
Yeah.
Because they are always the ones that lose. The cars always win.
Yeah, no, I understand completely.
And so it's a huge problem. And, you know, our intent is not to go out and find reasons to fine people or anything like that. It's to try to encourage people to follow the rules, which are sit there, you know, for their own protection, really. You know,
I agree.
I'm not going to force you to wear your seatbelt, but guess what? It's probably the best thing to do when you're driving your car.
Yes.
And
I remember
so to
having
cross
that.
the street at a crosswalk is a far healthier way to do it than to just pick a spot and zig across in front of a ETI truck or something, you know.
No, I don't disagree at all.
Yeah.
I've listened to this discussion through its evolution to this point, and it just seems to me like it's a solution to a problem that's not as big a problem, to have that kind of an ordinance that it impacts the whole community. At least I stopped in and with Councilman Larson and had a visit with him, and I will zip across the street every once in a while, okay? And I would just hate to think that if I do that now, I have to look both directions to make sure there's not an officer because I'm breaking the law.
Your Honor.
And that adds an emotional layer, and our whole society is getting on edge in so many different areas. It's just crazy. But to add another law, I don't see where it's going to be very productive. But anyway.
To make a quick comment, when I read this ordinance, there's a very delineated distinction. And that is, if you're in a crosswalk, whether it's marked or unmarked, it's the vehicle, the driver's responsibility not to run you over, right? You're crossing legally.
Sure.
If you choose to cross the street or play hockey in the street or whatever, it's the pedestrian's responsibility then to not impinge traffic.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing in this ordinance that says you can't cross from City Hall to McDonald's. You absolutely can. But it's your job as a pedestrian to clear the roadway and not get run over. So this adds clarification to that, not necessarily that you're going to get a ticket for jaywalking. However, if you jump out there and you're playing out in the middle of the street, or as some people do, they cross very slowly, impinging traffic, I think that's what this ordinance is addressing more than just people crossing the street or kids playing in the street or whatever. It just changes who's responsible for what. If you're in a crosswalk, marked or unmarked, it's the driver's. If you're not, it's the pedestrian's responsibility.
I worked with the blind for 28 years, and I remember telling people, our blind students,
they should use crosswalk,
that if you use a white cane, they will be protected because cars won't hit you if you have a white cane. And one of the ladies spoke up and she says, I've had 2 canes run over by cars.
Yeah. People don't look for
Your
that.
Honor.
Yeah, and so it just goes on and on.
Councilman Salisbury.
It also protects people. I walk a lot, and people do not stop at crosswalks
don't?
when you're in them. So I really like that part of the ordinance.
I do
To
too.
remind people that when people are in a crosswalk, you need to stop because it is a problem, and it's a big problem.
It came as a surprise to me when I heard the discussion that there was not already an ordinance on the books against jaywalking.
So there's a pretty good chance.
And so I think in most people's mind that the pedestrian has the right of way.
Not true.
Oh, they
And
do.
so-
The crosswalk, they do.
Well, and these nuances, you know, you can get in a legal discussion about it and whatnot, and I understand that. But I don't think, you know, the average person makes that distinction. So at any rate, that's just my 2 cents worth on the subject.
I would dare to wager that there'll be as many tickets written to cars that don't stop for pedestrians as there will be for pedestrians that
Don't stop for cars.
It'll
cause
probably be-
coffee
probably be
traffic.
0.
So, okay. Anybody else? Pardon me? Okay. No other councilman comments? Okay. Administrative Service Director, would you please do a roll call vote?
Yes, Your Honor. Councilmember Dean Peranto.
Aye.
Councilmember Lindsay Cox.
Aye.
Councilmember Mike Bailey.
Aye.
Councilmember Carla Borders.
Aye.
Councilmember Kyle Larson.
Aye.
Councilmember Christy Salisbury.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes on 3rd reading. The next one is the bid award for the valve exerciser, Public Works Director.
Thank you, Your Honor. If you don't mind, I'll defer to Operations Division Manager Dan Adcock.
That would be great.
Your Honor and members of the council, before tonight, I have a bid award recommendation for a trailer-mounted vacuum unit valve with a valve exercising boom. The recommendation tonight will be that the city council approves the purchase of this new trailer-mounted vacuum unit with valve exercising boom. And during the preparation of this year's budget, the city of Riverton did authorize the purchase of one trailer-mounted vacuum unit with a valve exercising boom at the request of the Utilities Department. The city of Riverton's council budgeted $80,000 for this total project. Wyoming state statute requires that the purchase of any vehicle be bid. And so this item was bid with the advertising beginning on September 14th and closed on October 3rd of 2024, with the bid opening held the same day on October 3rd, 2024. We received 2 bids, with both bids being responsive for this item. And the bids are as follows. The first bid was from Coyce Brothers Equipment in the amount of $118,427. The second bid was from 10 Point Sales and Marketing with a bid price of $87,896. Staff proposes that the City of Riverton award the bid to 10 Point Sales and Marketing in the amount of the $87,896. With the budget impact, $80,000 was budgeted for this purchase, with the lowest bid being $7,896 over that budgeted amount. However, this difference can be made up with savings from other projects that we've done earlier with the fire hydrant valve repair, the wastewater sludge building RAS pumps valves project, and along with the wastewater leak detection equipment process coming in under budget. So if I would stand for any questions that you have.
Your Honor. Can you tell us what that does?
Absolutely. This is a vac-mounted trailer that has a vacuum system where we can vac water, dirt, rocks, or anything out of valve boxes. The valve exercising boom is actually a hydraulically operated valve turner that you can put down on that valve and you can open and you can close those valves. The nicest part about these exercising units is it enables the team to get out and exercise valves throughout town. These valves need to be exercised. Many valves haven't been turned in some time because we haven't had to turn them, but when you do, they don't turn. So with this unit, we can turn them up and down. We usually try to get through town every 3rd year, and it really makes these valves operate more efficiently. So if you do need to use them, they actually work. And the vac unit really helps us clean out those valve boxes that get filled with debris. Quick and efficient, get those valves exercised so that they work when we need them to.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, seeing no other comments, Chair would entertain a motion to award the bid for the trailer-mounted vacuum unit with valve exercising boom to 10 Point Sales and Marketing in the amount of $87,896.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Councilman Cox had the motion and Councilwoman Salisbury had the second. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. The next item is the Job Corps Memorandum of Understanding. City Administrator, report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Before you is a memorandum of understanding that really updates one that you already have had in place. This is between the city and Job Corps, but maybe more specifically the management entity for Job Corps, which is now Equus Workforce Solutions. In brief, the work-based learning program offers Job Corps students the opportunity to participate in off-site learning opportunities to further their education. The city's been able to participate in the work-based learning program several times over several years. We've had students with our fleet team learning how to be mechanics. We've had students on the police department side and community development side for office administration. We've also had students work with our heavy equipment operators. We would like to re-engage in this program and bring these students to the city of Riverton and enjoy the mutual benefit of them helping us and hopefully us helping them as well as they further their education. The previous MOU was adopted on January 4th, 2022. This is merely an update to that as the management company has changed since that time. I would like to make note that we have Jerry Prejean from Wind River Job Corps here tonight. She's very helpful when it comes to work-based learning, and we also have the new Center Director, Matthew Davis, here tonight. And if it's okay, we're just very pleased to have Job Corps in our community. If you'll allow me a little bit of latitude, I'd just like to highlight that in addition to the work-based learning program, we've had several opportunities to have Job Corps students participate in city projects and city improvements. Just recently, they replaced heaving sidewalks on North Broadway. I happened to drive by on Saturday and I noticed all the heaves were gone and it just made my day. Photos of the students as they replace that concrete have been sent to you and you'll have opportunity to look through that. But this is just one example of the many things Job Corps students have been able to do for the community. In addition to the concrete replacement that they've done now several times, they've helped us prepare the splash pad site. They've helped haul off items. They helped, for example, take the old skate park equipment to Hudson, and they hauled all that for us. We've also enclosed irrigation ditches and piped them for us. So we're very grateful that Job Corps is in Fremont County, in Riverton, and we look forward to this MOU if you do approve it. And I'm sure they could explain a little bit more if you do have questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Again, I think it's an awesome thing. Wind River Job Corps is a wonderful asset to our county and our community. And I think it's amazing that these kids get a chance to get out and have some real world practical experience. It's just not the same as doing it in the lab or at the site. And they get out and see how it's really done and get to interact with people that are doing those jobs every day. And I think it gives them a lot better outlook on, what they want to do in their future and ways to improve themselves. So I agree. It's an awesome program, and we thank you guys for being here. You guys want to say anything, or?
No, we're excited to help you guys. I just encourage you all when you're doing projects, not just think about the concrete side of it.
Mm-hmm.
We have electricians up there. We have heavy equipment operators. We can transport stuff. Anytime you guys have a project to, cut the budget down a little bit, contact the center director or I mean, we can help with all kinds of stuff. We helped with Rotary doing cleanup. Job Corps students did 8 miles of cleanup. We actually started outside of the city limits, but we worked our way in, and so we just have lots of, there's lots of opportunity. And it not only helps you guys, but it helps our students, like put some game, or some skin in the game, so to speak,
Exactly.
so that they kind of get an understanding of what it means to help.
Okay. Thank you. All right, the chair would entertain a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the City of Riverton and the Wind River Job Course to participate in the work-based learning program.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, Councilwoman Borders, Councilman Pronto with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. The next item is the 2024 construction report. Public Works.
Thank you, Your Honor. Welcome Dan Adcock, Josh Hernandez, both from the Operations Division, and Brendan Tolman, the Utility Division Manager. They're the brains that actually put these projects together and make them come to fruition. So I'd like to welcome them.
All right. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Nice.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You say he's a seasonal employee? Nice. Very cool. Thank you.
Here, I promise. Here we go. Okay.
Oh, you got it.
That work? Yeah. Okay. Members of the council, Brendan Tolman, engineer for the city of Riverton. I appreciate this opportunity to speak on behalf of the construction projects that have occurred throughout town. This year was a very successful year, I would say, and with a lot going on in a little amount of time. I've been here for 5 years. In 2019, we did some projects that were able to make this year's projects come to fruition. So I'm very happy to speak on behalf of the Forest Committee, on behalf of the Public Works Division, and then also on behalf of the council that approved a lot of these projects. So without further ado, we'll start with 5 projects that we approved, this council approved, and the Forest Committee identified as the 1% projects. So these use 1% optional sales tax funds. These projects are the Major Avenue College View Drive project, Arapahoe Drive Improvement Project, the 2024 Concrete Replacement Project, 2024 Pavement Preservation Slurry Seal Project, and roadway preparation, which will bring in the Streets and Alleys Division and the Operations Division, and then Pavement Striping Project, the Operations Division put together as well, and then 3 capital improvement projects. These are larger projects that we like to highlight and bring to the council and the city of Riverton citizens' attention. And so I'll start with the first project, and we'll start with the capital 1% projects. And this year we were able to spend just over $2 million on these 5 projects. This is in past years we spent anywhere from $1 million to $3.5 million. The 1% fund brings in, let me go back, sorry. Too many papers up here. The 1% project, it brings in, from its inception in 2013, it brought over 1.1 million, 1.18 to be exact. And then on a high year, on 2022, it brought in $2.36 million. So this year we spent just over $2 million in projects, matched our revenue up very closely. The first project, not because it's the biggest, but because it's probably the most innovative, is this Major Avenue and College View Drive project. This project started as a Major Avenue project. It was bid in 2022, and to just take care of Major Avenue. And Major Avenue, the problem with that street was it was highly trafficked, but then it was, there we go. Also, there was multiple cracks throughout the project, and then the utilities had sunk, so it created basically potholes throughout the road, which was otherwise not a very bad road. So as we looked at it in 2022, we opted to mill the roadway down, bring in a reinforcing fabric, and then bring back in a 2-inch layer of asphalt. That project went to bid, and the total on that in 2022 was $658,690. We opted not to do the project that year between this council and the Forest Committee, and instead we did the Sunset Drive project. But if you remember in 2022, in the fall of 2021, that project was a $1.6 million project at Sunset Drive. Sunset Drive turned into a $2.2 million project, and that's just inflation in about a year. So I say that to say today, this year, we put this project out along with 2 sections of College View Drive, which were about 300-foot sections in 2 different areas, one in front of CES, which was highly potholed and just an eyesore every year, and then one up on the north end, which was falling apart and just crumbling. The roadway was just crumbling. So there's another 300 feet there, excuse me. Those required full depth repair in College View Drive, and so we included them as part of the major project. Put those 2 together, and this year we came up with a project that was bid out at $559,594. So 2 years later, another $60,000 less, or math is a little bit off. Actually, I think I have a typo on the next slide. So about $60,000 less. Then we actually come out with more of a project with less money. So with that, I want to commend 71 Construction that brought in so we changed the technique of this project and called it a cold-in-place recycling. We're able to recycle in Major Avenue the asphalt right into the road base with a roadway reclaimer, and that's what you see on the left. I think you can see the slides there. But this is a German-made roadway reclaimer, about $1 million machine, and Wyoming Milling provides this reclaimer. Wyoming Milling's out of Lander, also out of Casper. And I've got a video as well to show you what it does. And it pulverizes the roadway and puts it into the base material, much as you would till your garden. And it makes pieces of the roadway about this big. And so at that point, we essentially make our own base material right with the road. And then it allows us to take that material and move it over to College View Avenue and fill in the holes that we create because we have a poor base in College View Avenue. And that's where you see the red material going down is a geotechnical fabric, a high tensile strength fabric, which if put down, it takes 2 to 3 inches of actual base material, and that fabric will take into account that much material, and you can apply that much less to the road. So when I say these things, and I don't mean to go in too much detail, but just to say that allows for less hauling in and out of the project, less wear on the roads when you consider fully loaded trucks running in and out of the project site, and then a quicker project. And I think you'll see that as I get to the next slide. One thing I do want to show, though, if you allow me, is just a quick video of what this machine does. It's under a minute, and I'll cut it short. And that is one of our force members. That's Art Dykeman there with also with Dave's Asphalt. This is actually on Arapahoe Drive project. I don't think the sound is vital for this to see what's going on. And he'll start moving in just a minute here.
It is moving.
So it moves along about lawnmower pace, but and then it pulverizes the roadway, creates an excellent base material, a stronger road than what you'd have originally, and then we were able to put a 3-inch mat of asphalt over top of that road. Let me pull up. So with that, when the bids were open, I think this council and the Forest Committee recognized that that was a fairly low price for what our project entailed. At that point, we wondered how much more of College View Drive could we do. So we partnered with, we pulled in quotes, partnered with Inberg Miller. They came in to do a geotechnical study to show how much of College View Drive actually needs to be repaired beyond just the two really poor sections, and that's where you see the borehole data on the right of the slide. And they were able to recommend how far south, let's say on College View Drive, we should repair and come in with a full depth reclamation or a full depth removal and then add in geotechnical fabric if the fabric was needed. So in the middle there, you'll see a milling machine that takes off the top 3 inches of the roadway. So after the reclamation was done, 71 Construction was able to come in, recompact the road, bring in the miller, pull off the 3 inches they need, which will allow for asphalt to go back on the road. So just a few specifics there. In the end, material generated on Major Avenue, moved to College View Avenue, provided for a short haul. The project turned in just over $1 million. We improved North Major Avenue, fixed 2 poor sections of College View Drive. That was the original goal. And we're able to go on farther from Sunset south to Brunton Court and take care of a large portion of College View Drive. So, and I want to commend 71 Construction on this one as well. They were able to bring in a project manager that worked for their competitor out of Casper, with formerly Knife River, to help bring this project in on schedule, on budget. They started July 15th after we pestered them for over a month to get going. And I had my doubts and my concerns. And then they finished August 14th. So just under a month, and completed over $1 million worth of work. So, and Arapahoe Drive is much the same, use a similar process. We're able to pulverize the entire road. At this point, we didn't need to haul any material off, just reshape, recompact, put it back down, build the roadway structure back up, and bring in the 3 inches of asphalt while replacing one culvert. To give you an idea how well this process works, that road was closed for 5 days total. And so 2 weeks worth of work, 1 day was replacing a culvert. And there was a detour set up. In the end, to route traffic, I heard from one disgusted elderly fella that chewed me out. That was fine. It was the next day he was back into his home. So he had a detour set up. He just didn't want to go around, but it was comical to listen to him. It was pretty good. I don't mind at all. And then moving right along, our third project is a concrete replacement project. We've attempted to do this in years past, to be able to take care of concrete outside of a roadway so that later on we could come in and just repair the roadway. And this is what happened in 2019 on College View Drive. When I started with the city, there was a price to replace curb and gutter on College View at the time. There was a price for hand replacing curb and gutter, and there's a price for machine replacing curb and gutter. Machine replacing was about half the price of hand placing. We opted to pull out more curb and gutter and do it all in machine placing, which allowed to set up this project 4 years later, where we could just go into College View Drive and replace the roadway itself at that time. So moving forward, if we can do smaller concrete replacement projects such as this one here at $343,000, with the emphasis on drainage, so replacing curb gutter, valley gutter, and those two mainly alley approaches in this particular project. Then we can manage our stormwater off the roadways. We can increase the life of our roadway, and then in this particular project too, we're able to do 9 ADA ramps. So provide American Disability Act, like the detectable warning devices you see on the corners of street corners, where we've started to put them in cast iron so they don't tear out, similar to YDOT. So if you have an opportunity to look at some of this concrete that's been replaced, one nice spot is on Pershing, next to Ash Grove School. And I will say that is the best concrete I have seen in this town since I've started. So that is a project by Jerry Bornhoff Construction, and is beautiful. If you think otherwise, come and tell me. I'm amenable, but it is very nice. Looks good. And that brings us to our slurry seal project. And just a couple highlights on this, and I'll turn it over to Josh and Dan. This was a project estimated at $450,000. We had that money set aside as pavement preservation, as a pavement preservation line item, based on last year's quantity. So this is 2.0 of the slurry seal project. This has been a project that we've tried to put into practice since I think since Mr. Butterfield was Public Works Director. And finally, last year we were able to get it going. If I were to project this year's project at last year's prices, it should have came in about $450,000. We were able to bid it out sole source with a different bidder from last year. And so this year we're able to do 102,000 square yards of roadway versus 71,000 square yards last year, and for $20,000 more, essentially. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dan, and their group and their crew made a lot of this happen because they went ahead of the slurry seal project to fix a lot of the roadway. Thank you.
As Brendan said, it was a very busy construction year so far this year, but I wanted to share a little information of what the Public Works teams have done to aid these processes along a little bit. As Brendan had said, there was quite a bit of 5.5 miles of slurry seal, but the Streets and Alleys team went in ahead of the slurry seal team, and we sealed cracks, we Durapatched potholes, we swept the roads, we got them prepared for the slurry seal so that slurry seal would be as effective as possible. We applied 1.25 tons of crack seal to the roads in that area, which is quite a bit. Between the preparation for the slurry seal roads and other potholes around town, the team actually applied 3,600 gallons of Durapatch emulsion and 55 tons of rock to fill potholes and prep these roads. That is quite a bit more than what we do on an average year, but the roads needed it, and get those things filled up. It really helps that slurry be effective. We also had the sweeper out. We swept over 90 miles of street this spring and summer, trying to keep the roads clean so that slurry seal would go down easy. We applied about 40 tons of asphalt, where we actually did hand full depth repairs in areas around town to just fix mainly water leak holes, large potholes, that sort of thing. So we did that as well. Also, we got into some roadway striping this year. Roadway striping is very important. Having paint in the middle of the roads is really, really, really important. And doing it by hand is difficult. So it's nice to be able to reach out to a company that has the appropriate machinery in which to do it. This year, we actually were able to get done 12.5 miles of center line and or fog line in town. And hopefully everyone's been able to see a little of that around town. It looks way nicer, especially at night. It looks really, really good. Also, as part of that, we did 86 crosswalks. We either painted old crosswalks, added new crosswalks in town this spring and summer. Along with that, we also did all of the curb painting, both yellow and blue, from along Main Street from Federal to North 8th West. So we've got a lot of good paint out there so people can see the curbs, they can see what's going on out there. So the guys worked really, really hard to prep these roads and get these things ready to go. Now I'd like to take just a couple of minutes and talk about some capital projects. These are capital projects that were budgeted for us to do. The first capital project was our new plow sander dump truck combinations that we actually got a couple of years ago that we're so excited for. But this was a big undertaking for the Public Works Department. This is the first time that we have taken an upfit process of this magnitude and did it in-house. So to give you a little bit of data on this one, the cost of the cab and chassis of each truck was $134,364. In addition to that, we had to purchase dump boxes, sanders, hydraulic control units, all of those things to go with these trucks. And that was an additional $78,169. So that's the money we have invested. By upfitting these trucks ourselves, which means we put these trucks together from the chassis up, we saved $15,000 per unit over what it would take in us to have someone else do that. So that was a very, very cost-effective way to do it. And like I said, it was a good experience for us. So I'm going to come down here on this next slide a little bit. I'm going to show you kind of a before and after picture of one of these trucks. So as you see on the left, there's your chassis. And that's where we got the trucks. And on the right is a completed truck. I took a picture from the backside to show the sander, the box. You really can't see the hydraulic control valves. That's all under the truck. Everything, all the controls inside the truck. Truck's ready to go with the exception of the snow plows. We're still waiting for delivery of those. Once those show up, we can put those on. That's one of the easiest parts of the project. A little humor in the process, you'll see the blue arrow. That's actually our chief mechanic sweeping the floor, so we thought that was kind of good. We'd get that in there too. He got done with the truck, so he's going to sweep the floor up. That's good stuff. It was kind of a lucky shot there, but it worked well. But we're really happy. We're really excited about having these new trucks. We're really excited about the effort that the mechanics and everybody else put into putting these trucks together, and they're really nice. And then a couple of drainage projects we also completed this year. The Smith Road drain process we just completed. This drain line failed about 2 years ago. We went down to the corner of West Park and Smith and noticed, or excuse me, East Park and Smith, and noticed that 3 or 4 sections of gas line had been exposed due to dirt settling down underneath because this pipe was leaking. So we got in there, we cleaned it up, we ran a camera through this storm drain across Smith Road and found out this storm drain was in very, very bad condition and it needed to be replaced. So we put it on the schedule and got it done this year. It was kind of a tough job. They had to take the 24-inch plastic pipe, put it underneath a 36-inch sanitary sewer line that's running about half full 24/7. So no mistakes there. Once they got through that sewer line, then they had to go underneath a 6-inch high-pressure gas line, which is the top picture on the right, which is also kind of tricky with these high-pressure gas lines. But they were able to get those in, get that done. Now that road is safe. We don't have to worry about that road having an issue as that water leaked out of that old pipe. I was happy about that. And another one that was equally as impressive was the Webbwood Road storm drain replacement. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but this storm drain takes all the storm water from the east side of town. It runs down, it goes into the 16th Street retaining pond, and this is the pipe that runs it out. And it runs all the way down Webbwood, and it daylights into a drainage ditch down by Smith Road, I guess is where it comes out at. The pipe that was in there was kind of piecemeal together back in the day. A lot of the pipe, there was no bottom in the pipe, so trying to jet it and keep that storm drain open was a real difficult task. And that old pipe ran underneath about 8 different homes along the way. So not a good plan. So we were able to get this replaced all the way down, and when they first started, that pond was full of water. We got it done, we opened it up, it drained like that. That pond's been empty since, and that's exactly what we want to try to accomplish. We'd like to get this storm water out of the way quick because we don't need it backing up everywhere. So those are some of the capital projects we did in addition to the construction processes. So we also had a couple other things that we did this year. Like I said, it's been a busy year. One of them was the All Nations lift station was replaced with a more modern unit to where it's a little bit more able to be repaired and maintained. The old unit was very old. That's almost done. We're super excited about that. The water bulk fill station upgrade went from a coin-operated system to a credit card-based operated system, which makes it way better. You're not out there taking quarters out of there all day long trying to keep it working. The automated meter replacement project, a big project for the city. Be able to actually automatically read meters from the city hall or anywhere around town. Wake them up, read the meters, do the reporting. Very nice to have that. The utilities team actually replaced 100 feet of water line on East Jefferson that broke a couple of years ago. It was an old 4-inch cast iron pipe that was in bad condition. So they got in this spring. We had the money for it. We got it replaced, got the road fixed, and now it's in good condition. And as we talked about earlier tonight, we have the Main Street City Park LED light upgrade project going on right now. It replaces all those incandescent bulbs on those decorative street lights in those areas and replaces them with an LED bulb, which will be way more energy efficient, and we won't have to replace bulbs nearly as often as we do now. And it's also going to light up that area that needs it. I also like to thank all of the construction companies that helped us out this year. 71 Construction did a lot of work for us. Jerry Bornhoff, Alexander Excavation, Dave's Asphalt, and Viper Underground. Without these local contractors, it would have been very difficult for us to get this done. But as I said, it's a great year. We got a lot of work done, so thank you.
Dan, I have a question. Dan, do you have an expected date of when the snowplow blades will be here?
Last we heard, production, supposed to go in production in November. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that they will get in production in November and get delivered to us so we can get those on those trucks. So we're hoping that's going to be the case. As I said, putting those on won't take us long. It'll probably only take a day per truck. So once we have them here, we can get them on fairly quickly.
Good deal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to reiterate that these construction companies, all local, but Alexander, which is from Lander, Wyoming, but 3 of them have over $1 million projects with the city. And 71 Construction, Jerry Bornhock Construction, Viper Underground have all, since I began with the city, they've all have increased capability that I haven't seen before. And we've been able to do projects that the Cold in Place recycling project has only done now twice, 2 other times in the city. Jerry Bornhoff Construction with the Webwood Road storm drain project was able to sneak a pipe in. It was basically 6 foot from a water line, 8 foot from a sewer main line. So both large volume, high pressure lines, and some of that with a lesser contractor is not easily done. So I just wanted to thank them, thank the crews, and then also a lot of the collection distribution crews that helped with the water and turning off and on water valves and getting called in the night and up in the night for the A&T lift station, which went online yesterday, by the way. So, or today's Thursday, by the way. So excuse me. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'd like to thank my Public Works team.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Great job, guys. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank you guys for your support.
What are you going to talk about, Josh?
Your Honor,
Yes, go ahead.
could I ask a question and put some of our team on the spot?
Please do.
Of these projects, Brendan, how many of them did you design?
All of them.
Everyone but
You did them all.
So for the audience that's watching, the answer is all of them.
Yeah.
And I want to point that out because as we look at the optional 1% tax, the city of Riverton has always prioritized getting those dollars on the road. And by having someone as talented as Brendan Tillman on our team who can design these and bid them out and manage them is a huge value, not just to the city of Riverton, but to our constituents and our residents. Hiring engineers is valuable at times, and we have done that, and we are blessed in our community to have good engineering firms. But I just want to say that because we have someone like Brendan Tillman, a lot of the optional 1% dollars go directly to the roads. And so I want to say thank you to that. I want to say thank you to our other team members for their work, but it's important to bring up. And hopefully as folks are looking at the use of the optional 1% tax, they're seeing a value on their roads. I'm really proud of the city for doing those slurry seals. We are hitting more miles with treatment than we ever have in the past. That will keep our good roads good and allow us to avoid having failing roads in the future. So a lot of good work was done And I think it's just really important to embarrass Brendan a little bit.
Yeah.
And also say thank you.
Yeah, and I would agree, Kyle. As I've said before, the Force Committee is extremely frugal and value-oriented and make sure that those projects are needed and that we're not using those funds for things that the tax was not designed to pay for. And so, and the city staff, and again, I appreciate them being very conservative with the city and this taxpayers' money and trying to get the most we can out of those dollars. And I think hopefully the citizens, understand and see that. So thank you guys very much. Okay. Do we have need for an executive session?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Unless anybody would like to.
I'm good.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Brendan.
Thank you, guys.